National parks rely on your taxpayer dollars, but an internal memo shows the federal government is now limiting how you get key information about what's happening inside the parks. Local staff are no longer allowed to tell the public about deaths and serious injuries in the park, including the Smokies. That is according to a document obtained by the Washington Post. Good evening. Thank you for watching 10 News at 6. I'm Robin Wilhoit. John Becker is off tonight. In the past, spokespeople for the Great Smoky Mountains would release statements when someone died or was seriously hurt. Media, such as Channel 10, also routinely received updates when we sent in requests. Well, that's now changed, as WBIR learned this month when we reported on the story of a Morgan County couple seriously injured in a rock slide in the park, and they struggled to get a traffic report. When WBIR sought answers, local Park Service employees never responded. 10 News reporter Lauren Lovett is taking a closer look at an internal memo that dictates who can release information and why it may be harder to learn more about deaths and serious accidents in the national park. Lauren.
Robin, according to the memo obtained by the Post, only appropriate authorities can now release key information about deaths in a national park. I talked with a retired Park Service employee who says reducing transparency will only negatively impact the public. Close to 400 people die each year in the national parks. That includes fatalities in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. An Interior Department memo obtained by the Washington Post dictates that only certain authorities can now release details about park deaths, and even less information will be released about serious accidents.
One of the concerns that I have is the transparency of our federal government with this public.
Phil Francis spent just over 40 years working for the National Park Service, about a decade of that time in the Smokies. He's the former chair of the Coalition to Protect America's National Parks.
I think we lost about a dozen people when I last worked here. I think they deserve to know what happens in the parks, and that the transparency should be a standard for all of the parks in the country.
Francis says waiting to release information only hurts people. That's the case for Brad and Virginia Ates, a couple injured in the Smokies represented by attorney T. Scott Jones. They hired him solely to get information.
It has taken an exceedingly long time in the Ates case. There's got to be something done. They've got to be able to do better. If we expect local law enforcement to be able to produce a report within 72 hours, why can we not expect the same out of the federal government?
He says the added layer of bureaucracy will only reduce clarity and delay closure.
300 plus people lose their life in national parks annually, but those people had families, and those families are going to want to know what happened.
The retired national park employee says transparency should come first. He's encouraging people to get involved if they want to see a change. We reached out to the Department of the Interior for comment about the memo, and they've not responded. Robin.
Lauren, thank you.